Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. Today we're going to fire up our Kamado Joe Classic and we're going to make some Guinness smoked chili. So let's get started. I've lit a fire in the center of the firebox of my Kamado Joe Classic, and I've taken one of the cherry chunks and I've broken it into several smaller pieces with my hatchet and spread those out in there, and we're going to set up for indirect cooking. I'm going to set my divide and conquer flexible cooking rack in with the heat deflector on the bottom and the grill on the top. We're going to let the grill come up to about 225 degrees or so to start with, and to do that I'm going to open the bottom vent about 1 inch, and I'm going to close the slider on the top vent down to about halfway between the first and second mark, and we'll watch it as it comes up, and I'll adjust this if needed. I'll probably open it up a little bit more in the beginning to let the temperature come up quickly, and then I'm going to close it down as the temperature comes up, and we're going to stabilize, like I said, around 225. While our grill's warming up here, I've got about 2.5 pounds of brisket point meat that I'm going to use in this chili. You can use brisket point, you can use brisket flat, you can use chuck roast, you can even use Boston butt if you want to, but you want to use about 2.5 pounds, and we're going to dice this into a cube, maybe a 1/2 inch cube. Our grill's up to temp, so I've taken this meat back out of the refrigerator, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on top of that. We'll hit it with a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper, and we're going to take that out and set it on the grill. Okay. Our grill's up to temperature, and we have a really nice fine blue smoke rolling here. So I'm going to set that pan right there, and we're going to let this go in the low temperature smoke here between 200 and 225 for about 90 minutes. Okay, our meat's been on the grill for about an hour, so I'm going to get the rest of this started. I've got my Dutch oven preheated here, and I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of canola oil in the pan here, and then I've got 2 yellow onions that I've chopped, and I've got 1 diced red bell pepper, and we're going to saute these here in the pan for 6 or 7 minutes. While those onions and peppers are sauteing, I've got an ingredient coming up here. I have taken 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, and I have drained those, and I'm going to top that can back off here with Guinness beer. About like that, and we're going to be using that, but I'm going to let that just sit for a while before we go to the pan with it. Okay, after we've been going here for 7 minutes or so, I've got 6 cloves of garlic that I've run through the microplane grater to get a fine mince on that. We're going to saute that in here for another minute or 2. And next, we're going to add 1/4 cup of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of ground cumin, and we're going to stir that in just long enough to get it completely mixed in. And then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of Guinness beer, and we're going to stir that in. And after I get that completely stirred in, I've got 1 28-ounce can of tomato sauce, and then we've got our can of diced tomatoes that we drained and replaced the drainage with the Guinness beer. And I've got 2 cans of dark red kidney beans that have been drained and rinsed. And I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm just going to stir this up and get this mixed in. And after I get all that combined, I've brought the meat back in off the grill, and I drained off most of the fat that had rendered there during that 90 minutes. Not quite all of it. And we're going to stir that meat into this pot of chili. I'm just going to get that in there and get it completely mixed up. And now we'll take this back to the grill. Okay, and I'm going to open up the vents on the grill a little bit to let the temperature come up to around 250 to 275. And I'm going to put that pot of chili on there, and we're going to let it cook on here uncovered for about 90 minutes. And every 30 minutes or so during that time, I'm going to come out here and give it a stir. Okay, at our first stirring point here, about 30 minutes in, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt and stir that in also, because you need to salt this to taste, and you're going to kind of want to check it as you go, so keep that in mind as well. Okay guys, we're at the 90-minute mark. This stuff's simmering right along here, and I've been stirring it every 30 minutes. I think I'm going to add just another small splash of the Guinness beer here, and that brings us to using almost a full bottle in this. So we're going to let this go in here for another 90 minutes with the lid on. Okay guys, we've been going for another 90 minutes, and I believe this chili is ready to go. It's looking really good. I'm going to take it off, take it inside, and we're going to let it cool for a little bit. So, I've served up a little bowl of this, and I'm going to sprinkle on just a little bit of grated cheddar and a little dollop of sour cream, and finish that guy off with some green onions, and we're done. So next time you want to put an awesome chili on your table with some smoke and some Guinness beer, give this a try. Let me know what you think. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/KamadoJoe. Follow us on Twitter @KamadoJoe. And until next time, I'm John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.